Well, hello, everybody. There's more of you than there is of us. I'm not sure where our other two commissioners are or volunteers, really. I did want to mention, particularly to you two, that this is April is National Volunteer Month. So thank you very much. I'll be the first to thank you for volunteering for this task force. And I hope the other entities that you volunteer for thank you as well.
Same back at you.
Oh, thanks. Let's get right into our guest tonight is Joni Blackler of JBE Joni Blackler Equipment Consulting. You can come on up here and have a seat at the table.
And also my father, Bill Blackler, will be with me.
That's fine. Come on down. Yeah, there's two seats.
You just found that out, it sounds like.
Oh, that's all right.
Support is always good.
Just come up here.
Yep. Have a seat. Your presentation's all loaded up, so your little clicker there will get you through it.
All right.
There
So
you
first
go.
off, I want to thank you guys for having us. So I'm Joni, and this is my father, Bill. And we'd like to introduce Tech Pro and containerized housing. So we work in the food processing industry, and as we've been doing this, we were working with a company named Tech Pro, and they've been making slaughter and processing plants out of containers for about 40 years now, and also containerized living. And so we've just found throughout visiting all these plants and all the people that we're working with that there's, a housing shortage as far as workforce housing, homeless, seasonal farm workers, cannery workers, logging, mining, even hunting and fishing cabins we can use these for. So this here is an example of a 20-foot fold-out container. So they come as small as 308 square feet and bigger.
And they fold out. We'll show a video of that here in a bit. They're pretty clever the way they've done that.
Are those the 20-footers there?
Yes, those are 20-footers, the non-fold ones. There we go. So it's a simple containerized concept, quick transport and installation on site. You can set them directly on the ground or on these little cement blocks, or even we have footings to raise them up off the ground if you want them up higher. As far as plumbing and electrical pipes, we can have them come out the sides or out the bottom, so depending on if you want to set them on the ground or up on footings. Here's the inside. They come plug and play design, all the lighting, electrical, plumbing, HVAC. We could do commissary kitchens or a little kitchenette in them as well, but
In the case where you don't want kitchenettes in the individual units, you could put up build one into a commissary kitchen, as an example.
Compacto works. It's a practical solution for all your housing needs. It's a small capital investment. If you have budget constraints, this may be your way to go, especially with the price of lumber nowadays and a timely manner. It's a lot faster than having anything built nowadays.
The delivery on those is what again?
2 to 3 months.
Really? Wow.
That's 1 month on the water. So it's
Yeah.
2 months in construction, a month on the water.
Yeah, so that's going to take the most time is over here. Plug and play design. We can deliver quickly and efficiently for all your housing needs. You can get them empty or fully furnished. We offer bedrooms, bathroom, HVAC, climate control environments, any added value that you want to, or added value added that you want to add. Here's an example of a commissary kitchen.
The units can come fully furnished if you want, down to the beds and dressers. I mean, just how you want to order.
They're very durable. the PIR walls. We explain that, Dad?
Well, I did a little research on the insulation or the insulated panels, which they're 60 millimeter thick, and they're equal to like an R18 insulation factor. Then they also have the soundproofing quality as well. So that way, you don't have to build out with 2x6s and put R18, batten in there, and ingress on the building itself. It allows you for more room with maintaining your insulation factor.
So the type 1 is a 40-foot container, and it comes as 310 square feet. And so in the middle of the bathroom area is raised, and it provides for the AC, electrical, and sanitary plumbing and pipes. I'll show you the next slide. This is a layout concept. So you come in the one front door, and there's a little mud room.
40-footer, right?
Yeah, that's a 40-foot high cube container. So a little mud room, and you have one door going to each room. You have a toilet, shower, sink in your bathroom. There's an outlet for your blow dryer or whatever you need in your bathroom, a vent for the bathroom. In the bedroom, there is an orthopedic foam bed, a full-size bed on a wooden frame. There's a table with a drawer and a chair and a little two-door opening for a wardrobe and some drawers, and a 32-inch TV. This is just a basic model. We can change all that, or for your specific needs.
The floor plan is changeable to suit, to a point, to specific needs, and these are stackable too.
Yeah, so if you wanted to do one room and a bathroom on one side and make the other side a little kitchenette with a living room and a table, so you can house a family in one container. Or another idea would be having the 1 bedroom, 1 bath, double 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and then doing like a commissary kitchen in one container. You could even do bathrooms in one container with showers. So you can, have designated containers as certain different areas, depending on what kind of stipulations and rules we might run across for different situations. These are the 20-foot fold-out containers. So the 20-foot fold-out, same concept, but they're 409 square feet. And so the central floor and those are elevated for the space for the piping and the hydraulic connections. And they have a built-in wall with floor winches for deploying of the folding platforms, and to the side of the container structure for the fold down of that. So I could show you a video.
It's got a mechanism for folding all the fold outs out. It's pretty clever. There'll be a video of that.
Now, since I don't have a mouse, how do we click on that for the video? One of you do it? Thank you.
This is the short condensed. Okay. Good. We'll watch it there too.
Simple as 1, 2, 3.
He's deploying the walls with that winch, built-in winch.
So as my dad said, we can stack them. So if you wanted to do 2 or 3 high, you can stack the containers, the fold-out ones and also the 40-foot ones. And they come with all the lighting, LED lights, electrical panels, drains, plumbing, windows, and we can change the window size accordingly for any rules and regulations for, fire escapes and whatnot.
So the plumbing in the building hold out like that? The one where like plumbed ones not have the fold out concept.
They're plumb, but centrally located in the center of it. This is not built in there yet in this video. They're demonstrating how they pull it out.
Okay.
But, yeah, it'll be. I think there's a floor plan in here somewhere where they're showing a central.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, so the 20-foot fold-outs, the whole central part of the container is raised up a little bit to compensate for that. And then with the 40-foot, it's just in the bathrooms that are raised up for that stuff. And then the electrical, and I have pictures of the electrical panels and some piping that I could either email you guys or to be able to show those concepts. But you can put them on the ground, or if you want the piping to come out the bottom, we'll raise them up and it'll come out the bottom. And then we had questions about financing. Yeah.
I talked to a commercial banker I deal with in Astoria, Warrenton now. They're Bank of the Pacific, and she's said that she's way on board with these. So I don't see any, or she doesn't see any particular problems with obtaining financing on these. Oftentimes with unusual construction, it's difficult. She said she'd actually like to put one on her property. So I think that's probably a go without a lot of heartburn.
So the flooring we can get in, it's waterproof. These are very durable containers, unlike the tiny homes. The shell is going to last for years and years and years. The floor and the toilets are going to be wear and tear like any rental or regular house. But you have a vinyl floor option, waterproof with imitation wood, or we could do carpet or PVC. We can change colors, have the outside painted in any color you'd like. This is just showing how easy they are to transport them, and they have hooks that you can crane them to pick them up to get them on and off trucks and off the maritime really easy. That's the floor plan for the 20-foot fold out. So same concept, but the bathrooms are just there in the centralized area. And we can change or modify if you wanted, certain things in the containers as well. Like we talked about, if you wanted a little kitchenette or a little bit more of a closet, if that's a rule that you have to have a closet. That picture there at the bottom looks more like the home style. It's a container, so it's not going to look like a home, but I think with painting and
A little bit of curb appeal, it might fly in, hopefully in neighborhoods.
And that's pretty much it. Any questions?
The lending you answered. What about insuring them? Do you think the insurance companies are going to insure
I'd have to ask that question. I can't answer that, but I'm not seeing any reason why not. If everything meets code, county code, and you get a permit for occupancy, for these, I would imagine they would insure it. Talking out loud here, like I say, I can't answer that, but I can certainly find out.
I feel like insurance companies will insure anything.
Yeah, like
Lloyd's of London.
mobile home, RV, maybe same concept as those.
Yeah.
So quick question. So the build out pricing for the fold out is about 80,000 and 9,500 for shipping,
That's the numbers I'm aware of.
and that's
correct.
fully decked out the way you want it.
With the list that's on the itemized summary, which is pretty much everything I mentioned, that's the full price, yes. And then if we need to modify it, or obviously if we took away the stuff that you don't need, then it would come down a little bit on the price.
With the addition of a kitchenette, there might be upcharges there. We'd have to look into that number, but not everybody wants that. Depending on the application, what you're going to be doing with the housing. You know, if it's homeless housing as an example, you don't want them cooking in their own facility. You have a commissary somewhere. You leave that out.
Mm-hmm.
And then also we could probably get a multiple discount. If you wanted to buy, 3 or more, we could see about getting some sort of discount.
Definitely, that would be in the cards. But that's a one-shot price you're looking at there.
We talked a little about it before. Why don't you give us a little background of who the company is and your part in it?
Well, so Dad is in the food processing industry and
Equipment industry, yeah.
in the food processing equipment industry. So he has needed help, and it's just there's so much going on with food processing and the food shortage, and so I got on board with him to help. And as I've been going around talking to butcher and slaughter plants, all these people are looking for a way and in need of slaughter and processing. So I knew about this concept from Dad and his partner Jeffrey, and they make them out of containers, and so it's been a huge need and a great product. And we found that they make the housing containers as well, and so they've been making the slaughter and processing facilities for over 40 years over in Colombia. And he also partners with Tech Italy out of Italy, and so between Colombia and Italy, they kind of partner together, and they make the containerized housing, the slaughter and processing facilities. And I've met Alejandro personally. He's a great guy and really receptive to helping us over in the United States and being able to change things for the codes that we have over here. And Dad's been inside the chicken slaughter and processing over in Mexico, and they just have a really great product, and it's less expensive to be built over there, and we just ship it over here.
You opposed that to buying them out of Colombia as to buying a container here and building it here. You're not going to get close to these numbers, I don't believe, and you're not going to get it in the timeline either. If you can even find the help nowadays to build something. But the company's been around for 40 plus years. Like Joni alluded to, the owner of the company is a great guy, Colombian dude. He's a good guy. This is what he does.
And so you have these, or they have these already in Colombia and in Italy. And did you mention? I think you mentioned there were somewhere else too.
Africa as well, I believe.
Africa,
continent of Africa.
So it's a concept that we're not really used to here in the U.S.
Correct.
And he's not. This company's not in the U.S. and that's where you're at. You're trying to get on the ground floor, getting this going.
Yes.
So. From that standpoint, I think it's definitely an interesting idea, particularly because you can do it so fast. With everything else nowadays, it takes, a year or 2 years to get anything up. Mm-hmm. You're right about all the, whether it's zoning or building codes and all those kind of things, we have to figure out how that works in something like in this case. But the need is so crucial that I think it's doable. Any other questions?
I do have one quick one.
Yeah.
So how would you differentiate yourself between that and the 20-foot RV?
Oh, durability. How long is a 20-foot RV going to last you? as opposed to this thing.
And how about the financing?
Again, I spoke with Bank of the Pacific, Pam Rush to be specific, and she says she's on board with this. She likes the concept. She thinks it's a no-brainer, no problem, quote unquote. But she did say she's going to run it up the food chain to see that if everybody in her organization feels the same way as she does about it. But from her standpoint, no problems. Usually it's with bankers, they tend to be very conservative. I didn't get that from our conversation. Nothing conservative. I don't feel there'd be any problems, personally. But again, that's the bankers.
And then the placement of it would be on somebody's lot, and then zoning.
That's zoning. What will they allow? Will the neighbors protest if they? No, you're going to put a bunch of containers in my neighborhood. Well, if they look good from the street, it's going to be a bit of a sales job, I think, personally. But
he's right there.
Concept.
Yeah.
There.
So you got to sell it to him.
Yeah. Is there any communities that you know of in the U.S. that have done something similar to this? I know there's some commercial properties in Tucson and a few other areas that have utilized containers to create a retail space. But do you have anything that we can look at that's community based?
Not containers, but you see a lot of those tiny homes. Mm-hmm. And with the tiny homes, they're not as durable as these. So these can last
this is
longer.
definitely a more permanent system compared to the tiny homes that I've seen.
Yes and
I
no,
would
but
say
these
correct.
are movable.
But they are
at
movable,
the same
yes,
time,
correct. Yeah,
they'll last longer.
I was going to ask, you could basically just do the reverse of the video, right? And
Yeah.
take
Just
it
fold
down
up
and move it somewhere else.
These look like they would be able to be moved more often than the tiny homes that I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with, say, the homeless crisis, how hard are they going to be on those tiny homes or, any renter for that matter?
Well, these were originally designed and built to serve the oil and mineral exploration industry in South America, and so
Okay.
the term I like to use, they're built like a prison toilet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're tough as opposed to a tiny home or an RV or that sort of thing. I think you're going to get something that's going to last significantly longer, a better investment for your money in that regard.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anybody else? You got any thoughts, Mr. Planning Director?
I think the biggest hurdle for our zoning ordinance is what we classify these as. It's a unique concept. It's different than a manufactured home. It's different than an RV. It's different than a stick frame house. And that's where looking at the ordinance and looking at potential updates to the comp plan and the ordinance at some point in the future, these are discussions that should be had, and how to pave a way for a potential development of this type of concept built into our zoning for the city.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel it has merit to your eyes?
It's something to definitely explore. I don't know how we get there using our current ordinance. We'd have to definitely do some research to see what we can do to get to that point and what it would take. But first and foremost, we'd have to figure out what to classify these as, and then look at the building code side of things and get the building official involved to see what building code requirements would be allowed by the state of Oregon to set these up as a permanent dwelling, essentially, is what you put on a property.
Well, could you set that up sort of like I hate to use words, but trailer park type idea?
And that kind of was the thought path I was looking or thinking about going down is can it be set up as a mobile home park? But then again, we're not talking about mobile homes per the definitions that we have in our ordinance. It's a different idea. So how and what that would look like, I don't know right now off the top of my head.
Yeah. First thing I thought of when you showed the one towards the end there that had, the tree and nice white paint and everything, that looks just like a mobile home, double wide.
Yeah.
And, basically most of those have their tires taken off and they build a skirt around it anyway. So you don't necessarily know that it's a mobile home. So, as I mentioned, and Jeff just did again, that we're revising or going to be revising our comp plan. And these are the kind of options that we need to look at so that that comp plan's flexible enough that we can take advantage of them. And then finding whatever the right spot is to put something like this. I'll talk about it a little later, but a lot of these things are going to take private individuals coming up with ideas like that. It's going to take the city giving a little bit here and there. Probably have to involve the state somewhere. And financial investors, private investors looking at something to get a nice return on investment. And, and builders too, for that matter, if it's something that actually involves building. And that's what we've got to do. We've all got to work together to come up with the plausible things that we can do to make it work.
Yeah, and we're open to ideas too. So you had said, Steve, that there's real small areas, where you're not going to be able to build very much. So we can start real small. We can also take out walls, do side-by-sides, stack them. So there are different, paths we can go down, or any ideas you guys have. We can change floor plans and concepts.
As a way to make them fit
Sure.
whatever given plan you have.
Yeah, I obviously, from what all you've shown there, it's very flexible in figuring out what you want to put in there or don't. So, it's kind of ideal. And for us in particular in Seaside, the biggest issue is where, and how much space it's going to take, because we just don't have much land, period. We just need to find the owners of the places that maybe do have it and figure out where we go. So, thank you for coming.
Thanks
you
for having us.
Great ideas. So, and we're more than willing to figure out what we can do going forward. So, thanks.
So a question for you.
Yeah.
You all. Where do we go from here? Should we stay in contact with you going forward to see how you progress through this?
Sure.
Okay.
And, if there are, I don't know where you get it, or I guess you got to figure that out, but figuring out what the building codes would require. Our building director's really busy, so I don't know how much time he could look at it, but take some of the specifics you got here, and if you've got any more specific details, send it over to him, and maybe you can give it a quick run through. Have Bob look through it.
Yeah, I'll definitely have a chat with him this week and see if he has an opportunity to take a look at some of the specs on some of these containers and see what they meet. And I'd be curious to see what the state of Oregon Building Codes Division, if they've already looked at this to some extent for another community or county or entity, and see if they've already addressed it in some way, and we'll be able to reach out to them.
And we had talked earlier about this too. There is a project that's been semi-approved in Astoria on Marine Drive or Highway 30 and Portway that is containerized housing, basically what to me don't take this wrong, but it kind of looked like Hollywood Squares, like 3 and 3 and 3. And, I don't know how they got up to the upper stories or what, but he got some kind of planning approval to start with. The big issue is a lot of the land that he's on was an old gas station, so there is an issue with cleaning up the land first. And I think it's part of the Port of Astoria's land, so he's got something like 2 years to get something going. And that was last September, if I remember right. So we'll see, that may be something, maybe you guys could I don't know if you want to reach out to him. That's kind of maybe competition. I don't know. But anything we can.
Guys I've talked to.
Okay.
So, yeah. I have talked to them.
If
I
we
go back
can.
and revisit this, find out where they're at. So.
And just see, because the more companies like that work together to make it easier on the cities and the counties, I think all the better again.
Find out what hoops they've jumped through. And
Yeah.
Okay. Get some
Okay.
good intel there.
That would be great to know.
Codes, I do have a technical breakdown of what everything is and what it's made out of. But Alejandro, the owner, he said pretty much, you tell us, what kind of codes or, R ratings or,
Sure.
Whatever. And then he can meet it. He's got the team that's able to get it
And the
done for
engineering
us,
staff
so.
to.
And,
Okay.
and he realizes he's going to have to change a lot because obviously tropical environment to
Right.
not
and
at all
importing into the
tropical here.
States. I mean, anything goes in Colombia pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
south of the border.
And you have my email if you have any questions. I'm always available.
Good.
Thank you again.
And I'll have a conversation
good luck.
with the guys that are doing the
Okay.
deal in Astoria, chat with you about
Yeah.
that, with you guys, I guess, some point.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay. A couple of things just to update you on. There is another idea that was brought to me via the mayor about a week ago. There's a guy named Jerry Walker that just as kind of his own project is working on creating some kind of workforce housing. He actually lives in Portland, has a vacation home in Arch Cape, and the whole thing came about because the people that were cleaning his house didn't have a place to live. They were being forced out, and they had to drive, to Seaside or Warrenton to find a place to stay. And he's done this kind of work before, and so he just thought he'd kind of work at it from the opposite side of normal and figure out what somebody that's earning, $18 to $20 an hour could afford in housing using some of the parameters, like you shouldn't spend more than 30% on the housing and 50% on all the expenses. And so he's trying to work backwards from that. And again, some of the same ideas, then going to find somebody that would build for a reasonable price, an investor that would be willing to get a reasonable amount of return, figuring out financing or all those things. And he's just going to work on it on his own. And one of his ideas in particular is modular housing and figuring out, what could, some of the things he's heard of. And I think there's a project in Bend right now that's going in this way. That basically you pour the footing and you put all the plumbing in it, and they bring the units and build them right on top of it in about a month. So again, really fast. I don't know what the lead time is to get all that going, but so there's another project that's going on. Somebody else just out of the blue basically saying, I want to work on this housing idea and see if I can come up with something. So we'll be having more chats with him. Dylan mentioned, last week that he has his own little group that he's coming up with ideas. That's all they sit down and do. You want to say anything more about that?
Yeah, me, it's like at the end most it, and it's a real networking event that we started a couple years ago, just looking for like-minded creative people who want to get into the real estate investing industry. And we started it at a bowling alley randomly. And it was fun, and then we started working with Churchill Mortgage in Astoria. We made it a regular monthly event there, and we call it Pints and Property. We get together, promote drinking if you want, and talk about ideas. And it's just really an open circle. We have guest speakers sometimes. Just hang out and talk shop, see what everyone's up to. We get contractors show up, attorneys, people just come there and see what each other's working on. It was really exciting to came to the task force and found out there's organizations that want to help people make things possible. So I just found out recently, it came last week. And yeah, that's why I reached out to Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Do this. So I'm throwing an invite if anyone wants to come. It's the first Thursday of the month, 6. Churchill Mortgage. It's really casual. Churchill Mortgage Astoria. And I like or 5 to 15 people show up a week. We have room for more. Alex, you want to throw anything else in there?
No, I think you kind of nailed it.
Okay. So there's lots of us around, I think, that want to do something about housing, and no matter what it is, I think every idea is worth talking about. I went to a group that I'm a board member of. It's mainly on economic development, but the biggest, we had these boards around that had various projects and ideas and good things and problems. And one of the we'd each put a sticker up by that. And the one I wrote down was developing more housing, no matter how offbeat or off the wall the idea is. And it got by far the most little dots that people said, yeah, we really need to consider that. So that's, containerized housing is certainly something new. It's not here in the North Coast yet. Be interested to see if it's anywhere else in the state. So that would be nice to know. Because I always say, if we don't have to invent the wheel, let's not.
Yeah.
And copy somebody else.
There is a project in LA that utilized 3 stories of containers and put a catwalk all the way around them. So think of a apartment complex, but they just stacked them up, and that was all geared towards low income or no income housing.
Right.
And that's I'm not sure if that started or completed in 2021.
Okay. So it's still a brand new idea, and we need to see, like I said, we're open to anything. Finding out financial side of it, that's definitely part of it, how that works. So we did see Aaron, I think, went to one of the meetings about the Astoria downtown project that recently was killed. The Heritage Square project, which would have had some affordable housing built in and a few other things. Basically, what they needed was more money than they had to be able to do it. And it turned out it was just too divisive. I mean, it was like so many things are nowadays, where everybody's either way over here or way over here, and they can't figure out how to talk to each other. And so good things end up not happening at all.
I spoke to some of those people, developers down there.
Yeah.
And I did mention our problem down here. And there may be an opportunity to reach out to them and have them come down, talk to us. I mean, they're looking for a project, and they have a team already put together, both the financing side and the.
Oh yeah.
They have a contract. They already have Hoffman Construction, or no, excuse me, not Hoffman. It was a different construction company. I'm sorry, and a management team put together, and they've got numbers. It's a well thought out plan, and you just need a spot.
Do you think we'd have a spot as big as that?
I think we could be creative.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly worth talking to them.
Look at the space that they're in now. That they were looking at. Really, you're only talking about half a city block.
Once they put the plaza piece into it, or before that?
It includes the plaza.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, let us know who that is. Yeah.
They'd be a great future guest.
I'm always open to that. I don't know quite what happened to Representative Weber. She may be more worried about her election that's coming up, which I understand completely. So I'll still try to get her here. I want this Jerry Walker to come and talk to us eventually, not real soon. Another thing, the county is going to convene sometime, hopefully late May, a group of the elected officials and people to talk about housing. Probably it would be the planning directors from the various entities, so you may have already been invited. Well, we'll probably have to get you there. And they also have another thing coming up that I just found out about. It's the county has a bunch of foreclosed tax properties, and evidently there's some of them in the Seaside area. And they're going to send that list out hopefully later this week. And when we get it, I'd like to see what properties are available. They're looking to clear them off of their rolls. I mean, they need to do something with it, but they're also very open to inviting people to bringing projects and perhaps deeding the property over to the project without money necessarily changing hands. Now, obviously, there's no guarantee of that, but if you can come up with something for a particular area, all the better. And it makes the county side, it helps them, and it gives them some good publicity and some impetus for people like us to figure out, okay, where can we go from here? So as soon as we get that list, and if we can identify anything on there that's around Seaside, then I'll pass it on. And anytime you hear anybody that's looking for something to do and has a creative idea, bring it to me, and I'll get them here. Anything else? We're wrapping up here pretty quick.
I just want to throw in that we do have
Yeah.
this, through our meetup group, we've gotten a pretty solid crew of developers, rehabbers, designers, financiers. I don't want to talk too high, but I will. Maybe creative ideas. So you guys that can help us make some less traditional things go on that we spent a lot of time together now over the past few years, and we've all gotten really things different than how they've done. So I'm just telling you have access to people who are get help making things possible. We have the work to make it a reality.
Okay,
So,
great.
whatever that's worth. Anyone you know that wants to talk about a good thing. Yeah, thank you guys for.
That's what we're here for, is to be an idea group and, not shoot down anything, but try our best, because obviously this situation is very, very difficult. Okay. Note that right as of now, we won't have a May meeting because City Council is going to be busy here next month on that date, trying to select a city manager, hopefully, if the schedule works out. So I'll be otherwise occupied that night. So the next meeting would be Monday, June 6th. But stay in touch. If you come up with anything, let me know. Okay. Mr. Semper, did you want to say anything?
Came to listen.
Okay. Like I said, we want everybody involved and come up with any idea, whatever you got. Okay. Well, go home, and you should be able to catch a good portion of the basketball game that's on tonight. If you care about Kansas or UNC, we're adjourned.